I'm here in Max Patch, North Carolina, and as you can see, it's incredible. It's one of my favorite places on the entire earth, and I'm not in some faraway country. I'm actually practically in my backyard in the Smoky Mountains in northeastern Tennessee. One of my favorite places to come, and I'm sure that you can see why. Let me just give you a little view of what I'm seeing. Isn't that amazing? So I come up here to watch the sunset on Saturday evenings, and it just refreshed my soul. I want to tell you a story about something that happened here on Max Patch many years ago. It was one weekend. I had invited a friend of mine from Florida to come up and to see me, and she's a very girly girl, and she was coming up to Asheville, North Carolina for a wedding, and we hadn't seen each other in years. We were just now getting back together. I had left the gay culture, and she had continued to hang on to her Christianity, but I invited her to come up to just get reacquainted, and we decided that we were going to go camping. Now, my friend Jackie, she had just finished cancer treatment, and we're about the same age, so she came to visit me, and the whole time that she was visiting me at my house, I just kept thinking, maybe it's too much for her to come camping up here. It's a completely bald mountain. It's got 360-degree views of nothing but gorgeous mountains. And so when she came up, I was just kind of hanging out at my house thinking, all right, maybe this isn't a good idea. And then all of a sudden, just a little while before the Sabbath hours on Friday night, the Lord just impressed me. Are you going? And I thought, well, sure, yeah. So the last minute, I grab my friend, we grab a cooler, we start throwing things in the cooler, and I'm thinking, I've got to get there before sunset so she can see the incredible mountainside and the view. Threw the tent in the car, threw everything I could think of that I would need, even my 7-pound Chihuahua. So here we drive up to, as we're driving up the mountains, it's an 11.5-mile drive up into the Smoky Mountains. And as we drive, of course, the sun sets, and it's completely dark when we entered the parking lot. And now we had a hike, and I'm not sure exactly how far it is, but it was long. And the straight hike up the mountain so that we could be here on the top of Max Patch. I had a little golf cart kind of thing with all the things that we needed in it, like a Duraflame log that we could light and have a campfire, the tent, and my dog, and sleeping bags and that kind of thing. But I forgot a flashlight, and it was completely dark. And what was even worse, that made the situation even worse, was that this fog had rolled in, and it was darker than anything I've ever seen. I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. And only by memory were we hiking up this hill, and my friend Jackie, again, who's never even been here, and we'd just gotten reacquainted, and she's probably thinking to herself, what have I gotten myself into? So we continued to go up the hill, and we both stopped several times, and my friend Jackie honestly would look at me and she would just say, how much further? And I would say, I don't know, I can't tell. But we used the flashlight on her phone as our only way of seeing at all. We got to the top of the mountain finally, and all of a sudden I said, give me your flashlight and stay here with our gear, and I'll look for this one camping spot that was flat where I knew we could put the tent and have our fire. So I left her there, and I went walking off, and of course she started calling my name, and I couldn't hear her because I was on the other side of this bald mountain looking for that spot, and she thought that I'd left her up there to spend the night, some survival training course. But I found my way back to Jackie, and she was relieved, of course, but we realized that there was no way I was going to find that spot, so we just decided to make camp right there. I put up this tent that I'd only put up once the year before. I started this fire so that I could actually see the tent, and the fog was so thick that I could see this wall in front of where the fire was. That's just how thick the fog was. And I struggled to get the tent together with the wind and the cold and the fire burning. And once we got all that settled, we went inside, and I said, maybe God just wanted to surprise you with the view in the morning. So that night, I was in the dark with my friend Jackie, and we were there, and I was completely at peace. I wasn't worried about anything interrupting our plans or disturbing our campsite. And I didn't realize it, but my friend Jackie had the same experience. It was beautiful. Next morning, woke up to the beautiful sunrise over these incredible mountains, and with the clouds down low over the mountains, you felt like you were in Tibet or somewhere crazy like that. We spent the day just celebrating the Sabbath, and at the end of the day, then, of course, we packed up and headed home. And it was right before my birthday, so that meant it was late summer, and so my friend Jackie and I, we celebrated. What an incredible reunion that we had and time with God. There's more to the story, but there's so much more that I want to share. But that following Tuesday was my birthday, and I remember that I had just recently been introduced to God as a loving Father, and that took many years for me. So that meant I was turning 48, I would believe. And as I'm turning 48 and I'm having my time with God on Tuesday, from 48 to 8, I regressed to a little kid, and I said, all right, Father, where's my birthday present? And as I was having my prayer and devotional time, I was waiting for my birthday present, sincerely, as a child of the King. And so as I closed my eyes and started to meditate, I started to think about, what would it be like to hug Jesus? And of course, that image is in my mind many times. And when I feel broken, when I feel lost, when I feel lonely, when I feel abandoned, he's there, and I can visualize hugging Jesus. And I have this image in my mind, probably on a beautiful mountainside like this. But in particular, then I thought, well, wait a minute, I want to hug my Father too. And just then I started to imagine, what would it be like to hug God as a father? And my arms just kept, grabbing air, and there was nothing, no visual that came to my mind. And I said, sincerely, as an 8-year-old child, I said, you want to hug me, don't you, God? And just then he started speaking to me. And he said, he talked to me and showed me in my mind that Mount Sinai was covered in clouds. And of course, the people couldn't see them, or they would have perished. And even I read in Desire of Ages, talking about one of my favorite chapters, talking about Calvary. And even Jesus at noonday was covered in just this thick blackness. And if you read that chapter, it says that in that thick darkness, the Father was with his Son. And even though Jesus wasn't able to sense his presence, what I found so beautiful was that the Father was with his Son during those final moments of his agony. And how wonderful that that even God was with his Son during probably the worst time of his life, just before his victory was sure. And so just then I thought about it, and heard God tell me in my heart, he goes, Mike, are you kidding me? I was with you all Friday night. And as you and Jackie were up on that mountain and in this thick darkness and with this fog all around and with the tent, and I remember seeing this just wall of fog and realizing that, isn't that something that even before Tuesday, when I said to God, you want to hug me, don't you? That God was already hugging me Friday night. And in that thick darkness on this mountaintop, that God was affirming to me that he does hug me. And this peace came, and the tears came, and I realized that I had just received my birthday present. God's amazing, and I believe that he wants to hug you too. And if he'd do it for me, I'm sure he would do it for you too. And I don't understand or know or relate to the example of a loving God that you have. But I hope that maybe my story will help you to understand God a little bit more. And that maybe you'll find an opportunity to receive his hug today. All right. See ya.
Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust all